Hello and welcome back to the Buenavista Rural Club here at Rancho Buenavista in the wild, beautiful and occasionally bewildering northwest of Tenerife. My name is Toby and I've been restoring this farm on and off for about 6 years now. First of all, apologies for the break in video uploads. The channel may have gone quiet, but Rancho Buenavista most certainly has not. The last proper episode was Buenavista Rural Club 207. Tempus fugit, time flies. And since then, time has flown, crawled, limped, reversed, and occasionally sat down under a banana tree with a cup of coffee. This video is a catch-up, a swift but scenic journey through the missing editions of 208, 209, 210, and finally 211. The reason for the break is simple. It's not exactly cheerful. The ongoing problems of the farm with the tenant, or more accurately, the irregular occupant, have seriously restricted my access to my own property. That is frustrating enough. This is my farm, but the greater issue is safety. I need to feel secure from possible attack by dogs and from any hostility by persons on the property. And so, my dear viewers, the camera has become my walking stick, my binoculars, and at times my little electronic conscience. No meaningful follow-up has arrived from the SEPRONA, Guardia Civil or local police since the last update. The administrative machinery has not so much slowed as entered a deep philosophical meditation. But we're not discouraged. If official wheels turn at the speed of a sleepy snail, then we shall continue looking for lawful, creative ways to recover peaceful control of Rancho Buenavista. Batteries, cameras, and banana-powered shopping. We begin with edition 208, where the mighty engine of rural progress was fueled, as so often in Tenerife, by a Lidl bargain. We bought batteries, went back again for a tool drop, and performed that international ritual, the middle of Lidl trolley dash. There was also the question of security. I wanted to upgrade the farm camera system, and the choice came down to the Xiaomi CW500 Dual or the Xiaomi BW300 fixed solar camera. The BW300 looked tempting because it was solar powered. A camera that powers itself in the Canary Islands sun sounds perfect. It may work in theory, but what happens in practice? The problem was not the picture. The picture was beautiful. The problem was it did not reliably trigger alerts, and it only records episode when triggered. So if it does not trigger, it does not record, which makes it, for security purposes, less of a guard dog and more of an elegant postcard. Installed on the Tower of Power, it gave magnificent views of the farm, but it was too far from the track and too unreliable on alerts to monitor traffic in and out. So the verdict was clear. Excellent scenery, poor sentry duty. The next plan is to buy the CW500 when the budget allows, and to install a second EcoFlow setup, giving independent power to the barn and a secondary security system with its own router. But every cloud has a silver lining. The existing system is now fully subscribed. In plain English, the Internet of Things has become the Internet of too many things. Meanwhile, the Galloper received more mechanical attention. Oil leak treatment went in, and the old beast continued its slow transformation into a fine old motor car. We also visited the new Leroy Merlin in La Laguna, a vast hangar, a do-it-yourself mini-city, and a splendid monument to making building materials slightly more complicated than they need to be. The building materials are all in one place, the normal do-it-yourself bits in another, and the till system appears to have been designed by someone who believes queues can build character. This is Tenerife retail at its finest. Limited competition, limited choice, and everything slightly banana-powered. Aplatanado, as they say. Rain, tracks, and access. The weather this year has been unusually wet. Not romantic drizzle, proper water from the sky with intent. The underground reservoirs overflowed, and water rushed through the farm, washing away sections of the access dirt track. You may remember the bottom entrance was washed away in an early episode, and we brought in gravel to patch it up. But the damage is not just at the entrance, it runs along the entire access road, and it needs a proper, shared solution with neighbours. For now, I've not rushed to repair it. partly because it's shared, and partly because rough access is not a great inconvenience to me, whilst my own visits remain limited. It is, however, a very considerable inconvenience to the person whose continued presence on the farm I consider irregular. Sometimes mud has a sense of justice. Walter, the cats, and the third invader. Thankfully, I've not been doing this entirely alone. My good friend Walter has come with me on day visits, usually at least once a week. Our first duty is to check on Visto and Salvaje, the rightful feline residents of this little stone kingdom. But every kingdom has a challenger. Ours is Black Spot, also known as Pata Negra, the third invader, the food thief, the shadow at the feeder. At first, the mission was to keep him out, but despite our efforts, it now appears we may have accidentally adopted a third cat. Black Spot should perhaps be called lucky, because he always knows when the defences are down, when I've nodded off, or when the system is looking the other way. There is now a clear pecking order. Black Spot first, Salvaje second, and poor Visto third in his own house. Sometimes diplomacy fails, and then we get the full penile opera, usually Salvaje versus Black Spot, with Visto widely deciding that discretion is the better part of breakfast. David returns, coffee survives, and the Galloper goes off-piste. David appeared back in Buenavista Rural Club edition 206. In edition 209, he returned for another stay at the farm. The first trip had been largely washed away by the wet weather. This time we could finally get into the coffee plants.
There's some in there, are there? Well, this is what it's all about. Coffee. Coffee plants.
One of the best
That
specimen.
one. There. Another one in here? Nothing in there. It's gone.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Coffee. Going in there, you see? There.
Many had survived the storms, not all, of course, but enough to remind us that plants like people can be surprisingly stubborn when given half a chance. We cleared overgrowth around the coffee plantation, which after all the rain had begun to behave less like a plantation and more like a small democratic jungle. David also brings with him certain gastronomic gravity. Food, coffee, local knowledge. The man is not merely visiting. He is conducting edible research. We saw a little local fiesta, enjoyed Puerto, and conducted the usual scientific experiment, how many good things can be eaten in one visit. The cats loved the company, and Black Spot, perhaps sensing an audience, mostly stayed away. But the higher tracks had not been travelled for some time, and the overgrowth had ideas of its own. The Galloper went off-piste twice. On one occasion, we came uncomfortably close to rolling down a steep hillside.
Let's go and have a look and see what Toby's done here in the four-wheel drive Galloper. He's gone a little bit off-piste, off track, and a little bit like rolling down the hill sideways. He went a bit close to the edge, miscalculated the where the road went. What do you think?
I need some professional help.
What, me personally or the car?
We narrowly avoided Catastrophe, but it did not avoid a puncture. The farm, as always, likes to send its invoices in unusual formats. Salvaje then gave us a new idea. His hiding place suggested cat escape routes, high sanctuary spaces, and safer places for the cats to retreat when Black Spot enters like a tiny masked bandit. So that is now work in progress, a secondary escape route from the cat's bedroom and high-level sanctuary hides. Cat lovers, tell me in the comments, what would you build? A new router was also proposed because the farm has reached that modern rural condition where even the cats require better broadband. Surveillance, always there even when we are not. Although we have not physically been present at the farm as much as I would like, the farm has not been unattended. The cameras have been working day and night. Motion detected, person detected, cat detected. Probably existential despair detected as well. Dogs bark, birds sing, cats fight, people come and go. Rancho Buenavista continues to perform for the cameras, whether I'm there or not. This is not paranoia. This is stewardship under difficult circumstances. When your access is limited, your eyes must travel by Wi-Fi. So remember this line because it sums up the present chapter. We are always there, even when we are not. Buenavista Rentals and Santa Barbara. The other work continues. Meanwhile, life has not been only farm drama. Behind Buenavista Rural Club is Buenavista Rentals, the holiday home rentals company, Tenerife Holiday Homes. The biggest of the houses, Santa Barbara, has been receiving a major frontage restoration and improvement. Walls, blocks, scaffolding, paint samples, all the glamorous ingredients of property management in paradise. Fitness, Pope Mems, Lidl Bargains, and the San Juan Project. Edition 210 begins on Monday the 8th of June, and by the 10th I had launched the Toby Fitness 2006 campaign. This is my bold attempt to reduce the total quantity of Toby without removing any of the essential personality. The Pope's visit had the whole island excited, and the internet did what the internet does best, produce memes faster than the official transport produced solutions. The Iberia fiasco became one of those moments when the island collectively nodded and said, yes, that sounds about right. The rain finally stopped and the wildlife began enjoying the good weather as if somebody had reopened Tenerife. But at Rancho Buenavista, the overgrowth remained a serious problem, made worse by the continuing absence of the tractor. The tractor's absence is one more chapter in the story of the irregular occupant, the man whose presence has not exactly improved the life expectancy of farm machinery. And then there is the top secret San Juan project. We cannot reveal too much yet, but creative and lawful plans are afoot to solve the problem of our undesirable irregular occupant. What should we call him? Keep it printable, but suggest a nickname in the comments. Anton, Hard Rock, Nikki, and Colours for Santa Barbara. Which brings us to edition 211 itself, and Anton's flying visit, or to be accurate, his sailing visit. He arrived from the Huelva ferry. If you want the full maritime horror story, watch my own video, Surviving Europe's Worst Ferry Crossing. Naturally, no visit is complete without gastronomy, so we found ourselves at the Hard Rock Cafe Tenerife, conducting further research into the relationship between friendship and large plates of food. Anton also had his own apartment rental fiasco, because Tenerife likes to welcome visitors with sunshine, views, and a small administrative puzzle. The Pope's plane breaking down fitted perfectly into the week. If even the Holy Father can be delayed by transport problems, the rest of us may as well bring a sandwich. Nikki Scott, Paula's business friend, also visited, bringing another welcome connection to the holiday home side of life. And at Santa Barbara, it was time to choose the colours for the facade, the fachada. This, of course, is where property restoration becomes philosophy. Do we choose gofio, gris piedra, or something brave enough to survive the Canary sun and the opinions of the neighbours? Closing, beauty, danger, and not giving up. So that is the missing chapter. Batteries, cameras, coffee plants, cats, fiestas, little bargains, the Galloper, Santa Barbara, Anton, Nikki, Pope Mems, and a secret project in San Juan. Underneath the humour, however, the darker point remains. I still do not feel able to use my own farm normally because of the irregular occupation and the dangers connected with the dogs. There has been no meaningful follow-up from SEPRONA, the Guardia Civil, or local police, and the administrative process has ground to a snail's pace. But Rancho Buenavista is not abandoned. It is watched, recorded, visited, repaired, planned for and loved. And the cameras, they just keep rolling. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to follow what happens next. Comment with your cat protection ideas and suggest a nickname for our undesirable irregular occupant. And still trying to keep paradise from turning completely banana powered.